You're listening to Business Marketing Show episode number 10. You can find us at businessmarketingshow.com or on iTunes.
Welcome to the Business Marketing Show. I am your host, Brendan Tully, from the Search Engine Shop, here with my co-host, Ed K. Smith. How are you, Ed?
Very good, Brendan. How about yourself?
Very good. How's that for an intro?
That was good. That was very good. Have you done your backups today, Brendan?
I don't need to do my backups because it's all automated, Ed.
That's the right answer.
So yes, I have. My systems have done my backups.
Very good. And that is the subject of today, doing backups.
Backups. So I guess there's two reasons why we're talking about this episode. Number one is a few weeks ago, I had a client with email hosting on Crazy Domains. So I'm going to say their name. And let me read out the email they got from Crazy Domains. Here's what it says. It's never easy to say sorry or to break bad news, but it's our policy to always be upfront and honest with you. Due to an unforeseen incident in a storage upgrade, the data from your hosting account has unfortunately been irretrievably lost. As a valued customer of Crazy Domains, to try and go some way towards making up for your loss, we applied $100 credit to your account. And then it says this can be used for any domains, product, or service and does not expire. It kind of just says blah blah blah. We lost your stuff.
Yeah,
it's not our fault.
Can they use it for a retrospective backup from the day before they got that email?
Oh man! So this client, this was a new client I'd never heard of from before. They Googled us and found, because we do Google Apps. This is actually, so let me tell the story. So they have about 25 staff, and they were using Crazy Domains for their email hosting. Now about half of the email accounts they were used IMAP for their email. So what that means is the email stored on the hosting company server. So they lost the email for about half the staff. And on top of that, they told them, the Crazy Domain said it would be 2 to 3 days just to get back up and running and have your emails actually working, never mind get the old data. So obviously that's unacceptable because, email's mission critical. So this guy called me on a Friday and was obviously in a panic, and we migrated them to Google Apps email hosting within, 2 hours or something like that, and had him back up and running. But, that doesn't really solve the problem that he lost 10 or 15 staff members' emails or email history. And then yesterday I saw on Facebook a friend of mine who has an online business, and she has all sorts of products she sells online, had a web developer from India or somewhere completely reinstall her site or wipe her site out. So she lost everything, and her most recent backup was a week old. And she's like doing e-commerce and selling stuff online. So that's a week of sales data that has been lost. So I kind of just wanted to talk about backups in general and protecting the downside and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, okay. So, and that's not very good news, and that's something you certainly don't want to hear, but there are easy steps to put in place to protect yourself. And there's several different types of backups that we can talk about in terms of backing up your physical stuff that you have on your hard drive, which is slightly different. Well, not slightly, it is different to what we're talking about, as in backing up your web server system or your hosting platform. Both equally important, but I personally would say that if you're running a business online and that is very mission critical that your site runs properly and isn't down, then that's probably the most important area to focus on.
Yeah, for sure. And I'd say the good thing about this is people think backups and their kind of eyes glaze over. But back in the day, like even what year is it? It's 2014. So let's say 8 years ago, we had a whole room full of servers that cost us tens of thousands of dollars. We had a backup system that was based on tape. I think the software was like $5,000.
Yeah.
To buy a set of tapes was like $1,500, and then someone had to change the tapes every day, and it broke half the time, like it didn't work. Like today, you can buy a service for $10 a month or $100 a year, back up different things, and it's all taken care of, and it emails you for breaks and all this sort of stuff. Like, it's never been easier to back up your stuff, but I still see people worried about the cost of $15 a month and stuff like this. It's crazy.
It is, yeah. It's just a complete no-brainer that you should be backing up your web stuff. So that's, got to be done. Got to be done for that price. It's ridiculous.
Yep. So do we want to talk about, I guess, anything that is going to cause some pain if it's lost needs to be backed up. So do we want to talk about common types of backups? What do you use? Tell me about your backups for your PC and all your other stuff here.
Okay. I'm slightly anal when it comes to doing my backups. I have a physical backup hard drive that I use here in the office. It's a couple of terabyte size hard drive, and that just does a constant backup. As soon as anything's changed or altered on the computer, it goes on there. Then I also use a system called Carbonite, which, as I was just telling Brendan, I got my renewal notice today, so that was very timely. Now, Carbonite, spelled Carbonite, that is a remote backup service that incrementally backs up your computer anytime you make changes or add files, change files, etc. And it is stored remotely. So if your office burns down or your house burns down and the sort of physical backup you may have lying around the office gets burnt down as well, then you're stuffed. But at least if you've got a remote system to get access to, then that's great as well. And I also use, even though technically it's not a backup per se, I use Dropbox to store all of my really common, important, critical files separate just to my computer as well. So I've got 3 access points where I can get all my data from my computer. Then when it comes to my website, I actually use 2 different backup systems on my website. I use a system called Backup Buddy, which I will download. Well, it will do a backup and keep it on the web server where my hosting is. And I also download that backup as well onto my system here. And I also use a system called VaultPress, V-A-U-L-T, Press, P-R-E-S-S, which is one of the WordPress company backup systems, which also is remote. So that's what I do.
Cool.
And so far, so good. I in 20 odd years of using computer systems, I've touchwood never really lost any important data. So
yeah, same. The same with, I don't think we've ever, when we had the IT company, we never lost any critical data, and I've never lost any client data. We've had to use backups quite a bit or restore from backups quite a bit for client websites, but never have lost anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm similar to you. So for the PC, I don't use Carbonite. I use CrashPlan, which is effectively the same thing. It does a backup to a remote location. I don't back it up locally because, for me, I lose and break external hard drives all the time. So I have a policy now that I don't use external hard drives because it's just too much hassle for me. And I move around all the time. I work from coffee shops and all over the place, so I just don't want to carry extra stuff. But CrashPlan is just another thing like Carbonite. One of the things I like about CrashPlan as well is it sends me automated emails about my backup status, and I can schedule it. So I have it scheduled because during the day, particularly if I'm like out and about, I don't want it backing up and slowing down my connection. So I have it scheduled to start at 6 p.m. at night.
Yeah.
And then, that backed up everything. And then you can also choose the data center where your data's stored. So it's not really an issue for me, but for some businesses, it might be important where your cloud data physically sits. Like if you're dealing with medical records or something like that, there might be some legalities around storing it overseas. So that might be a feature to think about. But yeah, CrashPlan, and then I use Dropbox like you. And Dropbox has an add-on, I think it's $40 a year, where you can it will store every single file you've deleted or edited. So I have that option for Dropbox, which is also awesome because I've dug stuff out from years ago that was deleted or stats have changed. So
yep. I didn't know of that one. And that's something you can just add in your account when you go into Dropbox, or is it a...
Yeah, it's one of the add-ons. So if you log in and just check the add-ons. It's like $35 or $40 or something like that. So.
Yeah, I'm actually quite amazed at how many people have taken up Dropbox. I remember a workshop I did recently with small business. There was about 30 people in the room, and I was asking different people what they used and different tools, things like Skype and etc. And about half the room was using Skype, but every single one in the room had a Dropbox account. Which was really quite sort of blew my mind. I wasn't expecting it to be that high, and it's very rare that I find people that don't have a Dropbox account. Even you can get it for free for a couple of gig, but then a lot of people don't have the paid one. But we do, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's absolutely worth it. Like I have friends, I get this regularly. Friends who have like the typical story: photos on an external hard drive or something, and they plug in the drive, haven't used it for 6 months, and it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Like those scenarios, Dropbox is a no-brainer. Like at a minimum, like Dropbox, it's not really a backup tool, but if you're not doing anything at all, putting your files inside Dropbox is better than nothing. So
yeah, definitely. So good idea to do. So what else have we got? I mean, VaultPress. Now you use VaultPress for yourself and for clients as well, don't you? For your WordPress site.
So all our client stuff is backed up twice. So we have VaultPress for everything, which is awesome. So we use our standard option is to use the nightly backup in VaultPress. For some clients, we use the real-time backup, so that's also good for VaultPress, particularly if they're like an e-commerce website, something like that, where it changes all throughout the day. And on our business web hosting plan, it's also backed up onto the same server. It's not Backup Buddy, but it's another type of snapshot backup, so a kind of similar thing.
Yep.
So that's what we do for websites. As well as on the PC, we use Google Apps and Google Drive for storing client files. So we moved away from Dropbox for client stuff because it was getting too hard to manage. So we use Google Drive, which acts very similarly to Dropbox.
Yep.
And we use a tool called Backupify, which I think is $3 per user per month. So I back up all our stuff, mailboxes, and we back up everything inside Google Drive as well. And I think it also does my personal Gmail for free. So it does personal Gmails for free, and then you pay for the Google App stuff, and that's awesome as well. So I've used that several times to find emails that were deleted or files that staff worked on and accidentally got deleted or whatever. So absolutely would recommend that, because backup for email is one that's neglected quite a bit, where no one cares about the emails until they're lost. It's
exactly.
If something happens if there's a lawsuit or something like that, or you need to go to court or some matter where you need history, there's always stuff in email that people need or you're referencing. So I'd say email backups are important because not many people think about them. And also, like we talked about before, so if you use Google Apps or Gmail, then you can use the IMAP email protocol, where the master copy is stored on the Google server, and then all your devices and PCs and smartphones and everything, they just hold a copy of it that synchronizes. So that in itself is a more, I guess, fault-tolerant setup as well, because if your PC dies, the email is still at Google. So, you can reload the PC or whatever, and it will just re-download the email. So another thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, that's very true. And look, even if you added up, if you were using all of these, like we do, the cost per month is still probably I don't know, it might be $50 or $60 a month.
Not even
maybe not even that. I mean that's the thing. So to protect your whole system and all the energy and effort and work you've put into building all this stuff, it's a ridiculously low amount to protect your investment. Yeah. So it's a no-brainer. You have to do it. I mean, I usually like to scare people when they, talking about photos on their iPhone. I always say, so you back your iPhone up, don't you? And they go look at me with a blank expression. Oh no. So if you dropped your phone down the toilet or lost it in the ocean or a car ran over it, all those photos you've taken of all your lovely kids for the last 5 years, they're all gone forever. You realise that, don't you? And you can just see the blood drain out of their face. I say, look, it's really easy. Just use Dropbox or Carbonite or any of these backup tools will automatically back up your phone system or iCloud if you're already set up with iCloud. And that they've got they just announced some cheaper backup plans for their system now as well coming out.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Backup is built into iPhone and iPad. You get, I think, 5 gig free storage. Yeah, and it backs it up so long as it's plugged in and it's connected to Wi-Fi. So if you plug in your phone at night, it'll back itself up. So.
Yeah, and they did have, it was like $99 a year for 50 gig, but now I think they've got like $20 a year for 20 gig or something. So they've added a couple of extra economical options for people. I just noticed on a new release they had the other day. So, there's plenty of options for people to do it. They just get lazy and don't, and think it'll never happen to them. But it is it's not a good feeling when that happens. And that email that you read out is just typical.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's standard. Like for most, hosting providers say it all the time. Yep, we back up your stuff, but there's no way to really test that. And when the shit hits the fan and you lose the data, they can legally turn around and say, "Sorry, too bad. We had a backup, didn't work. Too bad." So
yeah. Yep, exactly. Read the terms and conditions of your hosting.
Yeah, like the things I will never delegate responsibility for in our business are money and paying bills, backups, checking backups, making sure backups work, and some sales and marketing functions. But money and backups, they are equal priority for me because the business is the backups, like the client list and all that client data and stuff that's taken years and years to build up, systems and processes and files and templates. To replace that, it's not a cost issue, it's a time and resources and sweat equity kind of thing, and it's priceless. My business is built, that's the foundation of the business, all these tools and checklists and things we've built. So if I lost that, it's like starting the business from scratch. So that's why I treat the backups like money, and I never trust staff with backups. We saw this with the IT company. The reception girl is the one who's supposed to change the tape every day and check the backups, and it just stops happening. It doesn't happen one day, and then it's just easy for they forget, and then it's it never happens anymore. So I would suggest as a business owner, you take ownership of it. Don't delegate it. Make sure it's it's equally as important as money. And the other part of that is you need a system where the backup is monitored. So it's great now with cloud backup stuff because it will automatically email you if it's broken most of the time.
Exactly. Yep.
But then you also need a manual check because if it doesn't email you, you're just assuming it's working. So I have a task when we run through. So I do accounting stuff once a week. It takes me about an hour, and on that checklist is actually go through and check the client backup system to make sure all our website backups are working for clients. And occasionally we'll get one that hasn't backed up in a few days or something, and it might have emailed and put a ticket in the system or something, and I might not have seen it, but you need kind of those two systems. So if the email system fails for whatever reason, then you've got a check there in place just in case, a catch-all, I guess.
Yeah, yep. Very good. So it's a good habit to get into. And as it says, I'm just looking at the Carbonite page at the moment, renewing my membership. Because, there's nothing to get you motivated more when it says your account's about to expire and all your backups will be deleted.
Yeah,
you go,
sure.
So it's a good business model, just keep that in mind. But anyway, it says here, not everyone can survive a computer disaster. 15,123 hard drives crash every day. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your files with Carbonite Online Backup. By the way, we're not sponsored by Carbonite or receive any money from them. But
we can't be.
But if Carbonite's interested in calling us, we're happy to talk to you. But how they come up with 15,123 hard drives crash every day, I don't know. But who cares about how many crash? It's yours. Yours is the one you want to worry about. Yeah. So. It's a very good idea, and typically a lot with these plans, I know like Carbon, I'm not sure with Crash Plan, you can get like multiple computer plans, so it's cheaper to,
Yeah, same with Crash Plan. And then if you need if you're on a slow internet connection, I think they can FedEx you a copy of your stuff on a hard disk if you need to restore urgently, because, if you've got 200 gig of data, That might take a few days to download. And I think also with Crash Plan for the initial backup. So my hard drive, I think my laptop got 250 gigabyte hard drive. So it took a month and a half for that to do the original backup. But there is an option where I think you can pay like $15. They send you an external hard drive or a USB key or something. You do the initial backup, send it back to them, and then they store that on their system as well. So
yeah, and that is the thing. If you do have a lot of data, it does take quite a while, which is why I use a physical drive here as well, just for that. Because if I did have a crash, I would want to just quickly and easily be able to restore it from my most recent backup. And if it happened that it was only a hard drive failure and not a fire or something like that, then I could do that. But otherwise, you've got the other options. So give yourself options. That is the key.
Yeah. And then, other thinking points are we want to reduce any single point of failure in the business. So where you just have one or something and it breaks, and that's a major problem. Like, so for our Pareto e-commerce course, one of the modules we did this week was e-commerce payment gateway. So a typical one is people only have one method of accepting payment through their website. And if that breaks, like PayPal, for example, if their PayPal account gets suspended and they can't take money, then the e-commerce business grinds to a halt for days. So as an audit exercise is going through in your business, looking at all the critical pieces of data and, making sure that there isn't a single point of failure where possible, and then making sure that you have some sort of rough disaster plan, or the data's being backed up somewhere and someone's checking it. Particularly like even cloud services, like there's an assumption that anything stored in a cloud service is backed up and it's A-OK, and that's not the case. Like everyone says, trust me, the backup works, but I don't, it comes back again, take responsibility, don't tell anyone, it's your business. If the shit hits the fan, it's going to be you who's going to hurt if the data's lost. So
yeah, exactly. So, well done. Anything else we can talk about with backups other than just go and do it?
Yeah, that's it really. Go and do it. Make sure there's some monitoring in place that will tell you if it breaks, and then have a regular checkpoint once a week or something like that, once a fortnight, that you're actually checking them and making sure they're working. And I guess trial restores as well. Just it's worth once a quarter just doing a test restore of different stuff, going into VaultPress and downloading the backup to make sure it works. Trying to restore some files from CrashPlan or Dropbox or whatever it is. So, and as well, you get a bit more familiar with the process, and you're going to lose data. Things are going to break. You've got to accept it. We see in the workshops, and I know you do too, that there's this kind of head in the sand mentality around technology that you just can't avoid anymore, because technology 5 or 10 years ago you could avoid technology. Now iPhones, like you've said, you drop the iPhone in the toilet. It happens. The accidents happen. Things break. Things get deleted. People accidentally delete files. So you need to accept that it is going to happen and have a plan for when that does happen. That it's not panic stations, or that your business doesn't crumble overnight because of it. So
very good.
Be proactive, right?
Absolutely, definitely be proactive, and it's not cost prohibitive these days compared to what it used to be. So get out there and do your backups. Choose the plan that's right for you and the company and the service. There's many options, and just get it done. So thanks, mate. That's awesome.
Easy. Cool, mate. We'll catch you next time.
I'm just going to go and renew my Carbonite backup plan now, and we'll catch you next week.
See you, mate.
Cheers. Bye. You've been listening to Business Marketing Show. You can find us at businessmarketingshow.com or on iTunes. Just look for Business Marketing Show.